everybody, SeKo Starcraft here, SeKo Beercraft, having an innocent gun. Toasted Oak IPA, brand new, very tasty. Do like me some innocent gun. If you haven't had it before, give it a try. Anywho, we got ourselves a GoswseR user, GoswseR, down here in the bottom right is a Zerg, up against a dipwood, Protoss in the top left. Speeding up a little bit because I got lots of replays and lots of beers to get to. I've actually been getting a lot more comments lately that speeding up the early replays is getting more popular, only because the intro part of the game is generally where people are just kind of BSing. Unless you've played a series or you got a lot of different games to talk about, it's pretty straightforward, and we see a pretty standard opening from both of these players right now anyways. I guess on a little bit of notes and things like that, it's been a pretty good season so far, starting into the beginning of this year, January, lots of tournaments, clan wars, getting out there trying to do a bit more streaming myself. You could find me twitch.tv/coping with it as well, just kind of getting into it. Was not that much of a streamer, only because I don't know, I thought my games were way worse than the games that I generally end up casting, and sometimes I'll cast my games, but I usually try to pick some of the good of the bunch, so it's not as salty. Pretty fast Nexus here out of Dipwood. He's scouting in the wrong direction, but he will get down here and see the pool was done first here. He's not making a pile of lings, and sometimes when I see players go for that pool first, sometimes it's nice to just make those 6 lings. You just never know what they're going to get done against a Protoss player on a map like this. Sometimes they'll come across and in this position where they get a lot of damage in, they maybe get a pylon, might be able to get a worker or two, but if they could get a pylon and a worker, 150 minerals worth, shut down a little bit of stuff here, it's really worth it. We can see that our Protoss players making a zealot regardless, but sometimes sending out some Zerglings early on forces your Protoss player to get a little bit more into the whole defense rather than just macroing up uncontested. I have a pretty fast third as well. That's the beauty of going up against somebody that's got that Nexus early on. Did he see the Nexus yet? He hasn't even scouted yet, so a little ballsy I would suppose out of GoswseR user here, but whatever. We'll see the cybernetics core timing. Don't think he's going to get down that pylon. The zealot is on the way. If he had 6 slings over here, I'm just saying. He got that pylon. Almost gets that one guy. Looks like he's going to keep trying. Nice hit. And doesn't lose any lings for it either. So probably just go to the base, have a nice little scout. But there's nothing really to see yet. Protoss player is not invested in his tech yet. Back at home, we've got nothing but drones coming out from our Zerg player, taking that worker lead here finally, now that he's going up to 3 hatches with his injects. Then we'll just kind of wait to see what the tech choices are going to be here. Do have a forge going down there nice and early as well. Do really like this as a Protoss player. Getting those upgrades out is just so critical, and it just seems like every other game that I see from a Protoss player, not every other game, most of the games, the vast majority are just 2 base attacks. It just depends on how early that attack is. Really early in the second base, or a little bit more delayed with a bit more power. There isn't too many games I'm seeing these days where the Protoss goes up to that 3rd Nexus, which I think is a little unfortunate. I think that with a good little pressure build into a 3rd Nexus is really powerful. Getting out 3 base economy as a Protoss lets you do just about anything you want to do in the game. No creep at all from GoswseR user here, and it's kind of a peeve of mine. I'm a big fan. Even in the early games, you want to keep hitting all those injects. We see he's got no extra queens, but even then, I still like using 1 inject's worth. We can see he's doing really good with his energy on his injects here. But I like using just the energy of at least 1 round to be able to put down those creep tumors and connect my bases. We have slow lings though right now, seeing that there is no 3rd base going down. We do have the Roach Ward, which is just a timing at this point. You know that your opponent, based on this, GoswseR user probably knows, based on this Nexus timing and what's going on, there's going to be an attack coming at a certain window. So therefore, drone up really heavy, get your speed and your Roach Warren, move into your lair, and get ready for, just that kind of attack that you almost have to assume is coming, because if you don't prepare for it, you run into a lot of trouble. Hidden Nexus! You can sometimes get away with this as a Protoss player if you can get into throwing down some cannons. It's a little early, you want to get the hidden Nexus fairly early on, but I don't think you can really afford to get the cannons down, so he's really just hoping he doesn't get scouted here. We'll see if that Nexus ends up paying off in this game or not. +1 started along with a few roaches. There isn't any attack coming out just yet. We do have the Robo facility just going down now, +1 just starting, but the amount of sentries that I see right now with this player and the lack thereof of gateways, obviously because right now he's going for a hidden base, so it says that we really want to see dipwood going into a later game. And this is why I don't know if I really buy into getting a hidden third in this instance, is I think that if he got just his natural one with a good sized army, he could probably move out and actually get into a pretty good position. No roach speed anywhere near production right now for ghost users. Gotta be very careful not to lose these units. A couple of force fields in here really triggers that Nexus cannon for free, essentially. Just gonna back out. Kills that probe. Now, Ghost User will not likely scout at all for this Nexus. Now that he just killed a probe and a pylon, looking to throw down a third over here. So in an instance, dipwood did kind of get his, his trick worked. The only difficulty is down like half the supply as his opponent. That's the difficulty of going for this really fast third Nexus as a Protoss player, is that he needs to just essentially live for the next couple of minutes. There is a spire going down, and this is a big problem for dipwood here. He's skipped all of his gateways. He's not going to be putting cannons down everywhere because he can't afford it. If we look at units, I mean, he's got a pretty good economy, 52 workers, and he's still building. Colossus on the way. He has no idea what his opponent is doing right now. This Phoenix sees a ton of lings, lots and lots of lings. Let's see if he actually recognizes the spire. It's kind of disguised. We'll see if he ended up seeing that and all. There's 13 mutas on the way right now. We do have some stalkers being warped in, +2 and blank started. So I think he saw it. But his gateway count and everything is so low. Oh, and a Ling does come up here and spot this. Immediately the army turns around. We actually see some droning up with Ghost User. He feels super comfortable. Muta's going to be able to come out, put on some harass, while he goes and shuts down this third base. This is not much of an army at all from dipwood here. But now that he's been spotted, maybe he feels he's got to move out and do something. The jig is kind of up. This is, I was going to say it's very all-in-ish, but going for this hidden Nexus, pretty big problem there. Mutas are coming in now. Going after a pylon right now. They're missing their opportunity to come here and get some damage. The cannons are started, the stalkers are coming in. But he does force the army to come back home again. Ooh, that's a good pick-off. He's going to focus down the Colossus there at the cost of probably a couple of mutas. But it was worth it. Right now, he's in a great spot. He does have his 4th base finished mining. Needs to take those gases. Still no creep. Very interesting to see a player with no caring about creep. He's going to simple run in here. He's going to lose a lot of these. Oh no, move command. Pretty big blunder there out of the Protoss player. It looks like the mutas just want to fight this. It's mostly sentries in here. So it's going to get shut down pretty hard. And once those force fields dry up, he lost, most of his mutas, but once those force fields are gone, these lings are going to come in and ruck face, just because there's no zealots, no more sentries. Photon overcharge, who cares? This was interesting to see, is in the instance the Protoss player getting punished pretty hard for taking that third base a bit too easy and not putting on the pressure, and that's probably as good a reason as any to describe why Protoss players like the 2-base pressure builds, just so he can really shut down that runaway Zerg economy. Look at the mini-map and the stuff coming across. And there's the GG. Pretty fun game there to GoswseR. Very, very smart, intelligent play. SeKo Starcraft, thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk with you later.